We have subtly mentioned that I have a date tonight.
Yeah, I was wondering about
And normally I would go, whatever, date, okay, congratulations. Well, I haven't been on a date in 20 years, and I know that millions and millions and millions and millions of folks have gone through the same thing.
I thought you were going to say millions of folks are waiting for you.
And so I'm not going to. Let me preface this on this show. We're on Facebook Live right now. We're, of course, on the Tony Kurre Radio Network, and this will air again.
Podcast is going to be here forever.
Podcast is going to be all over the place. I was thinking about this, and I was talking about the Katie Couric book, and how you were mentioning how your mom, wrote, and how at some point you feel like you need to get things off your chest, and sometimes you step on toes, and blah, 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 blah. I just want to preface this.
Okay.
Whenever I talk about the people in my life, and I've been really transparent about my family. I talk about my kids. I talk about my wife, now my ex-wife. I haven't really gotten into my divorce, and I don't have any reason to.
Right.
I thought, well, this would be a great show. Don't need to. But ultimately, everything lies on my shoulders. Okay, so if I ever talk about a particular situation that this hasn't happened in a long time, or this never happened, I take full responsibility for everything in my life. There are people that have done things wrong to me.
Yeah.
That I can't control.
Okay.
But I can't control whether I continue to engage with that person or burn that bridge down or whatever. Bad things happen, and there are some really shitty people out there, and I get that. But it's my call on whether I want to continue to engage with them or cut ties. And so ultimately, it's my responsibility. I'm the only person on this earth to be responsible for my own happiness. Period. You can make me happy.
Yeah.
You can make me happier. But ultimately, you have to find the joy in your own heart in order to survive and be secure in yourself and be transparent and love your life. And if you're not happy, if you're saying I'm not happy because my life sucks, well, then you got some things to work out, and you need to work through those things. Yep. And I realize we're all different. But my point being is that if I talk about someone, and yesterday a lot of people reached out because we were talking about some of the things I had done in my life and stuff. They're like, please don't tell the story. I'm like, we're talking about me writing a book. And I was like, ultimately, I'm responsible for everything that's happened in my life. I realize there's exterior things that happen, this, that, and the other, but then it's how you deal with things, because that's life, okay? So when I do talk about going on a first date or whatever, I'm never pointing fingers. I'm responsible for what's happened, and that's all I'll say. Does that make sense?
No.
I am never going to. Yeah. You'll understand by the end. You'll understand by the end of the show.
No. Okay.
Anyway.
I like that. By the way, this was just a quick little psych thing in there. Mm-hmm. The happiness part is really interesting because happiness is our emotion, right? So what we talk about all the time, that made me happy. Oh. You make me happy. Sure, things make us happy. But you make you happy. Like, nothing makes you happy. If you process something, your brain takes something in and goes, oh, I'm going to be happy because of that. Yep. And I know that's splitting hairs, but it's super important, because you can teach yourself to be happier. Yep. And I think that's important. I think it's really important, because particularly if your life is not going well, it's easy to go down the, my life is a mess. It's hard to be super happy, and it's probably not healthy to be super happy, but you have control a little bit on that dial of how much. And I see
my point being is, if you're waiting on someone to make you happy, then you ain't living life right.
Right.
Because you got to find happiness yourself. This is really deep. But it is. If you're living life every day waiting for things to happen to you to make you happy, you better start over again, because you've got to create that happiness first, and you've got to be secure in yourself and your environments and the people you surround yourself with in order to make that happiness happen. Period. But I mean, it's amazing to me how many people go through their life every day and they're waiting for things to happen to make them happy, to win the lottery, to get in a relationship, to whatever.
It's so much simpler.
Because when you find that internal happiness, and happiness is fleeting, I don't have bad days. I have bad moments. Right. Joyousness is something that's everlasting. It's biblical. When you have that joy, little things don't bother you anymore. And then when exterior things do happen to you, boy, it takes that happiness to another level.
You just also described how devastating depression is.
Yep.
And I think that's just important because whenever we say that, I hear us talking about that, and I immediately am thinking the people who have depression, that's the problem. By definition, your brain has changed, and you can't be happy no matter how hard you try. And that's why it's a horrible condition that is treatable, but you just described the experience of being depressed.
Amen.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we say
and people that don't understand depression don't understand it because they haven't gone through it. I've been through it briefly. I've been around people. My mom had it. I've been around people that have suffered from it clinically and chemically, and it's
when you look at them,
it's about the worst damn thing.
It blows your mind, kind of, doesn't it? Because you look.
It does.
And you look at them, and they'll, a lot of times people who are depressed will say, I know I have all these great things in my life. I'm trying to be, and I just can't. It's almost as if the happy, optimistic, positive part of your brain gets flipped off.
Yeah.
And that's
it's not like some character flaw. Well, there are always a negative. Because some people are.
Yeah.
Some people just can't seem to find that positive in anything, and they've got it good. They're not depressed.
Right.
Just,
exactly.
So anyway, it's interesting because I'm getting ready to go on this date later on tonight, and this TikToker who's come out who proclaims herself as a seasoned pro at first dates. It's amazing. The story just fell in my lap this morning. It came out
seasoned pro at first dates.
She's a seasoned pro at first dates. She shares an extensive list of rules she believes men ought to stick to during their first date.
Okay.
And oh boy, it looks like men have a lot of work to do.
It's interesting that she's excellent at first dates, which would suggest that she goes out on a lot of first dates.
Which means she must be really lousy at dating.
That's exactly.
She says she's going on 1,000 first dates. I'm like, if you're going on 1,000 first dates, that means you're going on one date and it's over.
Yeah, so let's take this with a grain of salt, but go ahead.
Her name is Brooke Miccio, Miccio on TikTok, and this has been seen by like 4.7 million people.
Okay.
So I was going through it. First of all, and again...
how you doing? How'd you do on it?
Oh, I killed it.
Okay. All right. Good. That's a good start.
Yeah.
Good.
And again,
you going to bring that for notes?
I'll stick it in my shoe or right on the back of my arm. No, again, going on a first date as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, 25-year-old is a lot different than going on a date at the age of 55. This is going to be kind of fun for me because I care, but I really, at this point, everything's gravy. I'm kind of like,
insecurity.
Like if this doesn't work out,
right,
I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's because it's kind of a blessing. It kind of fell in my lap, hopefully, and so I'm kind of like, this is kind of fun. So I'm not putting a lot of stock into this. I'll take a shower and I'll dress up nice and I'll bring flowers. I'll do all the things that a man should do.
Well, there's a difference. I mean, I don't think it's even you're not discounting it.
No, I'm not at all.
It's the difference between being 16, 18, and 50 is 16, 18. The entire world is riding on this date.
She said the first thing she does is she wears 2-inch heels because every man on dating apps lies about their height. Is that true? She's 5'7", so she knows with 2-inch heels she's 5'9". She said if she gets to a date and he's shorter than she is, he's a liar right off the bat. She said that's a bad first impression when a dude says I'm 6'1" and she's 2 inches taller than you are, and she's 5'9". She knows exactly how tall she is.
Smart.
That is pretty smart.
I love that.
Do guys really have to lie about their?
I thought I was going to be super tall, and I stopped growing at about
6'1", right? 6 foot.
That's where
5'11".
I think I've shrunk just a little bit, and I was at that. I was 6 feet as long as I stood up tall.
Yeah,
6 feet forever, and then we measured Max. Max measured in at 6 feet. Max is about that much taller than me. And I was like, well, I'm 6 feet. You must be 6'1". And we measured. And so I'm 5'11 and a half, and I round up.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you're not on a combine or something. You don't have to be.
No, but I know that feeling, particularly if you're short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said it's embarrassing if I show up in 2-inch heels and we're the same height.
Yeah.
Like you're lying about something, so just be honest. Next, she said she always arrives 3 to 5 minutes late.
Oh.
Because she wants her date to already be sitting down at the table when she arrives so it's not awkward.
That is awkward.
However, she did say she never turns up crazy late or anything, but she always gets there after he does.
Why is that not awkward? I think it's more awkward. Less awkward for her? I don't care.
Well, this date thing tonight is really interesting.
Okay.
Because I said, your place or mine?
Oh,
I have to go pick somebody up, right?
Okay.
And I know this person, so it's not
okay.
really. It's not
okay.
Like
well, so that's.
I already know this person, so we probably aren't going to go anywhere. No, but she's like, my place. And I was like, good. Because I feel a lot more comfortable going. Yes. Not because I'm not. There's something weird about me going to her place and her opening the door and coming into her atmosphere as opposed to her coming to mine, because then I feel like I have to kind of control my atmosphere. In this case, all I did, it's just me.
That's why you have dates on neutral territory.
That's why you go to dinner. So I understand that. I understand that awkwardness. And I think it's important to see how he reacts to her walking into the room. I think that's the thing.
Okay.
Does he get up? Does he hold her chair for her? What does he stay sitting down? Yeah. I hope not. I like to get there first. I always like to get there first because, I like to settle in a little bit. Yeah. I don't have to get there half an hour early, but I like to get meetings, everything else. Mm-hmm. I like to be the first one there because I always feel like I'm ahead of the game a little bit.
No, it makes sense. Particularly you drink your water and you dribble a little bit, you have time to dry.
Yeah.
You get to do this.
I always have a respect for people who get there early. When I got to a meeting the other day and this guy showed up 5 minutes early, and because time is something you can't get back, and I respect.
Okay, I'm good with that so far.
Don't pretend like you haven't looked me up before, she said. Because who doesn't love a quick Google search of the prospective date?
Of course.
She said, I keep my profiles very ambiguous.
There you go. I was going to give you one more shot at that one.
Thanks. Like you're going to look me up and have no idea you looked me up. Just say it. I already looked you up, and I'd rather do it. So, I know I'm not going out with a serial killer. Do people do that?
Yeah. You Google.
I have not looked this woman up
You
tonight.
should.
Well, I already know
Everybody
her, so
does. I don't think you need to say, okay, I don't like that one. I wouldn't say, you're right, because you're lying. I wouldn't say, no, I haven't looked you up, but I wouldn't bring it up. You just, everybody does. You do.
I don't.
Okay, well, you're going to have to do that before you go.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't want to know.
Well, you already know her. That's the.
What are we going on a date for? We're going to have conversation.
Oh, but listen. Yours.
Why would I want to ruin the date?
Stop. Yours is a little bit different. Let's just preface this. Yours is just slightly different.
Okay, well, let's say I don't know who this person is.
You would immediately Google her.
I don't. No, I wouldn't.
Well, that's.
I would to see a picture of her.
Yes.
If it was a blind date, but if I already know what she looks like, I don't need to pull up pictures of her. Why do I need to find out whether she's done?
Well, it's not that.
Charity or whether she's been a killer or anything else. I'm not going to ruin it. I like the surprise. The element of surprise.
I'd immediately first go to LinkedIn and you check.
You'd hire Jeff Hammock.
No, I wouldn't. It's not for creepiness. This is to get a vibe. I do it to get a vibe.
Vibe?
I get a vibe.
From what? From seeing someone's Google page?
Not yet. Where do they work? What's their social media profile like? All that kind of stuff.
What is this, like a job interview?
No.
So I was looking. I see you've worked 3 different jobs in the last 4 years. How's that going? I see you just took a brand new position.
So would you
on LinkedIn.
rather not know?
Yeah, that's what I'm going on a date for. I'm going to learn about her.
You don't need to.
There may be some things in her past maybe she don't like.
She's already looked you up. So does that make you feel uncomfortable? She's
I'm
totally
transparent.
searched you.
You would Google me any day. I don't got nothing to hide.
Well, yeah, you're impossible to find too.
I'm pleasantly surprised that, again, we came in on the latter half of the beginning of social media.
Right.
So
because I told you I was looking for some spicy stuff when we first started. There's nothing spicy.
Isn't it amazing?
You're not there.
My
dude.
Search engine coordinator's done a really good job.
Yeah.
She went on to say the date should consist of drinks but no food. Just in case things aren't going too well, so you aren't stuck eating a meal when you'd really rather be making a quick exit. That kind of makes sense.
Well, that's the coffee idea.
Yeah, I mean,
you call it drinks, but that's coffee. Let's go for
coffee.
Well,
that's why I always say that your first date should always be lunch.
Yeah.
Because you got an hour.
Didn't they make a whole company about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even think it's around anymore. Your first date should always be lunch.
I don't like that, though.
Because it gives you 1 hour. If it goes great, swimmingly, great. What are you doing in 5 hours? When you get off work, you want to go out and have a drink or something like that.
Yep.
It always gives you time, and it gives you an out. And, I'm an hour guy. After about an hour, I'm
Plus, it's
like
in the middle of the day. It doesn't lend itself to anything one way or the other.
It gives you all the resources to get up and split.
Yep.
If you're not working or you got 3 hour martini lunch, you can say, screw the office. Yeah, we're good to go here. And then maybe you find out you're going out.
It's just lunch or coffee. I would go either one.
Maybe you're going out with someone that's unemployed.
Yeah. Drinks, I'm not big.
2 o'clock in the afternoon. Don't you have to go to work? But screw my boss. He'd be fine.
See, I would have done.
And then you find out the dude's a loser.
I would have already known because I would have done the LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to linger, especially if you're having a good time. But max, what do you think she said max date time should be?
Because she's only doing drinks, 90 minutes,
2.5 hours.
Jeez,
like my social batteries run out any more than that. She goes, that
yeah, Tony Curry.
I'll get drunk, get messy. I think the longest meeting I ever had is like 2.5 hours.
Well, she's also drinking. See, that's the other problem.
Yeah.
Because you're there more than 90 minutes, 2 hours. I mean, if you're sloshing down drinks.
Yeah. I love this, and it's so true. And I know some people don't feel this way, but she does preface it. She says, I'm going to say it, especially for the first date. If you're trying to court a woman, the guy's got to pay. She said, I'm going to offer, obviously, but it's a test.
No, it's on me.
Exactly. Yeah. In terms of the finer details, she said it's super important that, and again, some women ask the guy out.
Yeah.
And even if that's the case, then I would certainly say, I've got this. And what I like to do is because normally I know people that are in the restaurant business, I'll walk in and go, I got this. Or I'll get up to use the bathroom, pay the bill. If she insists, I will go pay the bill and then come back and then say it's already been taken care of. And chicks dig that. They love that. Because you have
Let me ask you this.
Yourself. Yeah.
Do you like it? Have you ever been?
Unless it's a really expensive dinner, then we'll go. No,
yeah, have you ever been where they offer to pay and insist on paying?
Yep.
And it gets to the point where it's ridiculous, and you allow them, you allow them, not allow them, but you acquiesce.
I have never been in a situation where someone's insisted to pay and I've allowed them to pay unless they've done what I just said they do, and that is they get up and pay for it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people insist, but they're not really insisting. Right.
So if someone took you out for your birthday.
And by the way, for you new daters out there, when you insist, that's the end all. When you insist, no, I insist. No, you can't over insist. It's like a double dog dare. You can't do that. If you insist, that's the end of it. So if you're going to use the insist word, you better be ready to pay. And
what if someone takes you out for your birthday? Say, I'm taking you out for your birthday.
For a first date?
Well, no.
2 or 3 dates in? Sure.
Okay.
You want to take me out for my birthday?
Yeah.
As part of my birthday? Sure.
Okay.
I'm all about that.
Okay.
Now, are they expecting sex from me?
You should tell. Don't go through the list. Is that she?
Now, if you're buying me dinner, are you expecting you're going to get some of this right here?
You might not.
You're going to get some of this meat locker here? Because
you might not.
You may have to go a little further now, my friend.
Jeez.
Are you using me? And I guess it depends on where you're having dinner. I can be honest with you. I cannot remember a woman ever buying me dinner.
Even on,
and it may be because I always insist, because I won't allow it to happen.
But what about
I'm not complaining.
On first dates only? Mm-hmm. What about on birthdays?
And I've had women ask me out too.
Yeah.
No, not on a date.
Listen. I'm going to actually go the opposite way. If a woman asks you out, I've said this, whoever asks you out,
yeah.
If they're doing that as part of that's something they want to do. I want to take you out for an evening,
and I will allow them to enjoy that paying of the
That's
thing.
exactly, because otherwise you're kind of like a pain in the ass.
But then again, people that know me know that I will insist on paying, and it's not necessarily it's more of an honoring kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
no, I know.
Not that I'm making more than you, this is
no.
the way it is. It's not the 40s or 50s good housekeeping thing.
No, but
it's just that's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, but my recommendation is if someone wants to make it an evening for you, you allow, and they first of all, if someone says, "Let me take you out," and we're going to go here, and they don't offer to pay, man or woman, that's a low blow. Let me take you out. Come on, Tony. I'm going to take you out. We're going to go to this fine restaurant, and then they don't offer to pay.
Has Jules ever taken you out?
I make Jules
to go shopping for your birthday.
Yeah, we go clothes shopping, but we split the.
Okay, well, okay, so you go out and you do some shopping for your birthday, and you're like, oh, boy, I like this. Pick something out you like, and then you end up paying for it.
No, she'll pay because we have our money together.
Yeah,
and we have no.
No, you got the good deal. I like it.
Yeah, no, Jill, and I do the same thing. The problem we have is that if you try to surprise it, it shows up on the credit card, and they already know.
Yeah,
I've had her text me and say, I don't really want that.
Yeah. I'm good with either way.
Okay, keep going.
In some cases, it's going to if you want this for your birthday, then you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, we've been there too.
Yeah. This is interesting in terms of finer details. And when I first heard this, I was kind of like, well, that sucks, but then I kind of get it. She absolutely hates holding hands.
On the first date?
And would never want her date to do this, especially on a first date, before explaining exactly how a first kiss should go.
Now, mind you, this is a woman who's been on thousands of first
Yeah,
dates.
well, maybe this is why.
Okay.
Holding hands is very intimate to me.
I agree with you.
And it's a constant intimacy that doesn't end. And so a touch on the shoulder or the elbow, small of the back, whatever you want to do, is one thing. But when you hold someone's hand,
yes,
it's a come go with me situation. Yeah. And there's a connection there that doesn't end. And by doing that, you're opening yourself up to them letting go of your hand first. And it's pretty easy to do. And that's a bummer. Plus, that's a big bummer when someone lets go of when you're trying to hold someone's hand and they let their
first let go is that's the first sign of rejection.
Because if they really want to hang with you, they will put their purse down to use the other hand. They won't ever let go. If their keys are right here and they're holding your hand, they'll reach in this way just so they don't have to let go. So they've got every excuse to let go. So on a first date, I kind of get this.
Well, and there's a difference between being 16 and 50. Because at 16, think about it.
Yeah, but you know what? It is so attractive to me in a romantic type of way when I see couples that I know have been together for a long period of time.
I totally agree with you. What I was saying is, if you think back when you were on your first date, like to a movie, right? Yeah. There were two moves. One was the put your arm around, and the second was because you didn't. At least when it wasn't on the knee, you reached.
Do you remember? Pardon me. Do you remember? It wasn't about the kiss. It was like, do you hold hands?
Yeah, that's
when you were like 6, 7, 8 years old. Do you hold her hand?
Yeah, that's exactly
because you were constantly touching. Go ahead.
No, but that's what I was going to say in the movie theater. Yeah. Right? It was arm around, but then it also was, at least for me, was touching the hand.
There's a lot you can do with the hand too.
It's I
went through the whole
on the thing.
I went through the whole.
Dude, I did a whole bustle article on
that. I know. My daughter and I went through it the other day about holding hands like this,
right?
And then the locking the one finger.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
And with kids, you lock on like their first finger.
Yeah.
Until their hands get a little bigger. And then and it feels just a little weird to interlock fingers with your child.
No.
I do sometimes if they lock fingers, but it's a little
particularly when they're
strange.
20.
And it depends on how big your flipping knuckles are.
Right.
I mean, if she's got like baby hands and you get these big monster hands and you're like, sitting there and you're stretching her hands out, it feels a little weird. So
we have Jules and I have the hand holding as a couple, and then we have because my daughter used to say this, let's be friends hand. Let's be friends hand is this one.
Yeah.
And then, so she's no holding hands. Okay,
I don't know what this means, she said, but if we are to kiss, this is interesting because I'm not a huge fan of kissing on a first date. Now, when she says kissing on a first date, I think she means like making out, not like a first kiss. But if we vibe, we vibing. Honestly, the most ideal situation would be sitting down somewhere. We go back to someone's apartment where we can casually kiss, but sitting down is better, even if it's at a bench. She's like, I think.
Boy, she gets around.
It's not that she doesn't want to kiss, like have a last kiss, but as far as in going on a date and then kissing throughout the entire date, she thinks that's a little weird. Particularly,
well, that is on a first date.
That's why she's not getting laid. Last but not least, Brooks expect her date to text her to make sure she got home safe.
That's fine.
And that's a courtesy we agree that everyone should be on board with. I've never.
Well, you've been a first.
Texting. No, well, back in our day, we would always pick the girl up, and we'd take her back to her house, and drop her off at her parents' house or at her own place. That was the deal. Now, this whole thing meeting out, which is totally cool, is a relatively new thing, 20, 30 years, which is relatively new.
Think about it. Safer for
the
girl.
Yeah, well, no doubt. But it was always,
because we didn't.
Growing up, it was always, I'm coming to pick you up.
Yep.
Because I have to ride, and I'm going to pick you up, and you clean out the car, and you get the freshener. And now it's like, can we just meet somewhere because they want to get the hell away from you?
Well, particularly if you're a creep.
Yeah. I will tell you this, and I'm going to use this one tonight.
Well, don't tell her. She might be watching.
I don't care. I already know this woman because I've known her for a long period of time, which is pretty cool because I kind of already know what she looks like.
Yeah, you're jumping past a lot of the first date angst, which is great for you.
It's
great.
Whenever you're in a marriage, and if you disagree with me on this, you're a liar. But whenever you're going through a marriage, whenever times get tough, your mind wanders a little bit. And you start thinking, I remember that girl back in high school, or I remember the babysitter, or what my life would have been like if things. It's not to say you want to give up or you want to divorce or anything, but you always think it's that resentment that comes out. Yeah, I bet you it'd been better if it was with that one, blah, blah, blah. And so you start kind of going through your Rolodex, your black book of girlfriends that you passed by to marry the one you're with. And so you start thinking about, gee, I wonder what she's up to, or I wonder what they look like. And then when you're with somebody for 20 years, then you know things are going to change. And so that's kind of where, because I knew this woman well before I ever met my
back to your Rolodex.
Wife. No.
It's like networking.
No, hold on. I didn't go through my Rolodex.
She went through her Rolodex.
She did.
Okay. That's good. I don't have a problem with that. Like, look,
no, that's kind of fun because
if everybody's divorced and it's all good,
you can make an argument that, well, it didn't work the first time. Why would you be going back to that trough? It's been 20 years.
Yeah,
she's changed.
Not last week.
Different things.
Totally. Now, one thing I'll say, as long as we're going there, and she's been watching, you know, I think one of the difficulties is it's been 20 years, but there's expectations that are different than if you don't know the person or never met the person. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a different kind of letdown that can happen. So if you go on a first date and you don't know the person, you know, maybe you're not vibing and it's okay. We've done a show on this, you know, do you give it a second chance if it's not terrible, all that kind of stuff.
This is really good. I know where you're going here.
Yeah, this one you have to be careful because your brain, it doesn't matter that it's been 20 years. The memory you have, your brain's going to keep going there. Mm-hmm. How it was. And you don't look the same, but your brain's still playing off that memory. And so you throughout the date, you're going to have to be kind of reminding yourself, it's been 20 years. This person's different. That's the other thing. Characteristics are going to be different. Yep. You don't know this person. It's been 20 years. Even if you've interacted with them, you don't know how they've matured. And so all my thing is give that some grace and some space to allow your brain to kind of accommodate to the 20 years. I think that's going to be really important.
Good. No, I think it's really good. And I mean, you don't want to get hurt feelings. You know, we've done some talking because we have a little history behind us. Mm-hmm. And so that is a really nice table setter. To know that, but that can also backfire on you too, because there are, and I, you know, you can say this all you want, no pressure, no expectations. You can say that all you want,
total pressure,
because
pressure, and expectations.
You've already gone there, yeah. But to know how it is or how it's been, their characteristics, their mannerisms.
You get past the, I have no idea who this person is. Where do I go with it? Yeah. You run the risk of I'm going to go with it. And that, it worked before, it doesn't work now. Yeah. Well, and the other risk, to be honest with you, is if you're just being authentic and you're being who you are, you or she have evolved into a person where you may be friendly and amicable, but the people you've become, there's not as much of a connection. And I'm not trying to be negative.
No,
it could be, and on the flip side, it could be amazing. You both have evolved. You've evolved in a way that there's a connection. Be careful about the feeling of comfort, though. We can talk about this on Monday. Just that there is this desire. If it feels good and right, there's a safety in getting back to dating. I'm not saying getting back together, but dating someone you've known before. There is a safety there, which is nice, but you have to be careful because I think sometimes it's a false sense of safety. I know this person, it's good, it feels good, but sometimes it's because it's familiar. So like it's the give it 3, give it 4, give it 5 dates until that point at which, and it's always the critical point, the point at which there's a little bit of, I don't agree with you. Whoa. Because it's in that moment that your brain decides, am I going to go with
this? This is not a time machine.
No, but that,
you know
but your brain,
we think
your brain is going to go like it's a time machine a little bit. You're going to have to fight.
Yeah.
You're going to have to
fight. It's been 20
20
years. A lot of crap happens in 20 years.